lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Good to go? Okay.
yes.
Okay. 7 o'clock, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're starting tonight with a public hearing. Proposed amendments to Compton Home Rule Charter to approve on the ballot for November 3rd, 2026 general election. In the public hearing, I'll invite folks to come to the podium. Please introduce yourself. And I'll ask that you try to keep your remarks brief because we have a very lengthy agenda tonight. A council discussion on the proposed amendments appears later in our agenda under new business 1, and this will provide another opportunity for your comment. So I open the floor for comment.
I had the salute to the flag after the public hearing. Would you like to do that first?
Oh, I was following.
I know you were, sorry, and I'm not trying to throw in a wrench, but up to you.
Let's do it after we. Let's just get it over with.
Let's do it. Okay, sure. Salute to the flag, folks.
Sorry, Victoria.
The
The United States of America.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great. So now we are in the public hearing, so we invite your comments. You can step up to the podium if you have something to share.
Larry Anderson. And I will try to be brief as I can. Can you hear me?
It on, Larry? Is the green light on?
Green light appears to be on. Please do not.
There we go.
I touched the thing that says.
That would be you, Larry.
Kicked out now.
So I attended quite a few of the Charter Review Commission's early meetings, though not some of their more recent ones. So I can attest that they address their responsibilities in a business-like, disciplined, and collegial manner in which all members conscientiously participated. And suggestions of citizens who attended, and they engaged in vigorous discussion and lengthy discussion on some important subjects. And importantly, their proposals include detailed and concrete provisions to address concerns that have arisen recently about town governmental financial accountability and procedure. Commission's members, all volunteers, deserve our gratitude. For myself, I just wanted to focus, have a few comments about some of their recommendations with which I have a direct experience. I've only recently had a chance to really focus on this, so they're not substantial, but I felt I needed to address them. The first one is the section 103, town property, which calls for, are these going to be projected in any way?
I can put them up.
This would help, I think.
Second.
And there are copies in the back of the room. If they're already handed out, I just ask that you share with your neighbor. I think we have several copies, but.
So this is the section in the charter since its inception with regard to disposition of town property and the financial town meetings authority to vote on a variety of transactions. One of the proposals adds the word lease of real and intangible property. I'm concerned about the addition of the term intangible here and the meaning of the term in the context of this article. The history of this and the fundamental purpose of this has dealt with real property, buildings and land. And it's been invoked quite frequently, really, over the years, most recently at the current town meeting, where the voters authorized the council to renegotiate and renew the lease of the former Grange building to the community center. So it has been a matter of importance to the town meeting. I may not understand the purpose of this, but without a definition in the context of this article about what is meant by intangible property, I think that term is a loaded one, which may lead to confusion in the future. That's just a comment. The other addition they propose here, town-owned property must be maintained in compliance with current local and state building codes. I understand the purpose and reason for that. This is the kind of language in a charter that's, in my opinion, sort of aspirational and an exhortation. It's not clear. And it may have some legal effect if there were a dispute, but it's not clear to me that it would necessarily have much enforcement power, but I understand the reason it's there. So that's my comment about 103. Section 301, heading for which is financial town meeting. It proposes a new section C. So if we can scroll down, C. Which would authorize the board of canvassers to establish the times for voting at elections that take place concurrently with financial town meeting. This question arose this year, and the town clerk had to clarify it for the purpose of extending the hours, opening the polls earlier than had been the case. So I think this is a worthy thing to include. One question I have, and it won't be in this packet, is whether this should more appropriately be in section 204 of the charter, which is elections to office at financial at town meeting, and includes which includes specific reference to the board of canvassers' role in conducting those elections. And as I looked at that, a place to put that would just be after the first sentence of the of that article. So that's just a thought. The other thing in terms of the language of this, I'm not sure that the clause which says which oversees the setup of the financial town meeting for elections is necessary here to establish the authority to designate check-in time for voting. I don't dispute the accuracy or the substance of the language. I just don't think it's necessary. That's just the thought. Section 304, notice and agenda for meetings. Section 304. So,
There we go.
and there's the third paragraph, yes. It adds language that says, and said warrant items shall be directly incorporated into the budget committee. I think there's some confusion, and again, I didn't attend the meeting of which this is discussed. But I think there's sometimes confusion about the distinction between the formal warrant as prepared and posted and the budget committee report distributed to voters. The current charter language states and requires that the budget committee report shall include the listing of warrant items. It also says further up that the listing of items of the warrant items to be voted shall be posted with the warrant. So the formal warrant includes the traditional warning or preamble as described in state law, but the rest of the warrant comprises essentially the warrant items of the budget committee that the budget committee includes exactly in the same format. The formal warrant may also include one or two other traditional procedural requirements, such as acceptance of the treasurer's report. But I may be misunderstanding the intent of but by incorporating the full warrant into the budget committee, it would be potentially redundant and add length and expense to that report. So that's just a comment. Conduct of meetings, section 305. Paragraph, which I appreciate. And I only have one suggestion: the town moderator shall coordinate with the town clerk and the information technology department to ensure the town provide adequate space such that all wishing to attend the financial town meeting shall be accommodated and have opportunity to be heard. I think this accurately accurately describes the town moderator's limited but essential responsibility in this regard. My only suggestion is to amend this to allow for a broader scope of town officials who share this responsibility. So this might read something like, the town moderator shall coordinate with the town clerk, the information officer, and other town officials. Just a suggestion, because we learned this year, and it could be different from year to year, many town officials have to participate. We had the town administrator, police and fire chiefs, others who might have to cooperate to do this. So it's just a thought to include phrase and other town officials. I don't think it would require it, but it would notice it. And then finally, the other question is Port 13 addition responsibility. This. And I'm going down to section E, which reads, as proposed, ensure compliance and accountability with the charter, then adds ordinances and federal guidelines and laws, all town officials, departments, and agencies to establish a process for review of complaints of non-conforming electors of the town. The current language is specific to the charter enforcement. And I recall that this was inserted back in 2006, and a companion ordinance was created that describes the enforcement process. It's rarely been used. I think I may have been the only person who ever tried to invoke it. Can't remember what for. I know the council didn't accept my complaint, which I know. But I'm a little concerned that the expectation council would be responsible for compliance with state and federal laws may create some legal and jurisdictional confusion. So I have some, this was inserted specifically because there was no other provision in the charter for its enforcement. There is an ordinance that calls for a process by which a complaint is made to the clerk, comes before the council, and the council acts on it. It's not a strong enforcement possibility, but it's more than we had. And I should that would be that didn't act on a complaint that in a way satisfactory to a citizen. The next stop would be. Those are my suggestions.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me. I have one copy of this, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Name is Vincent Kennedy. I'm a resident of Big Drum Road. Just a point of explanation with respect to the intangible property. I think that was driven towards the non-real assets of the town, including, for instance, delinquent taxes. So that, there is an authority to sell non-real assets. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm not seeing anyone, so I will close the public hearing.
I got some
Cool.
comments. Page 9.
We are going to go one by one through these, Gary, when we get to it on our agenda. If you want to do it then, it's up to you, however you'd rather do it. I just wanted to give you the option to say,
One by one, I'll wait till that time then.
okay, let's do that.
Somebody should take Larry's notes. I think some of them.
Heather has them.
I have.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing and thank you for participating. Moving on, we have saluted the flag already. Oh, I'm sorry. Brandon Pinio, please come up. Sorry. Do I need to reopen the public hearing?
Still open.
We're still open? Okay. Pinio, please.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry I didn't see your hand. I would have recognized you.
Wasn't standing up. I'll responsibility for that.
Thank you.
This evening, I chose to take a few minutes just to address section 506, the changes to Part B. And that is a change that is alarming to me. And my reasoning for that is by taking making the said changes to go from a $5,000 limit before an RFP has to be put out and moving that up to a 20,000 or the other parameters that are outlined there is particularly alarming because I believe that by soliciting bids, particularly at the $5,000 stage, several things can happen there. What it does, in my opinion, is it provides an opportunity for bidders, both local bidders, sole proprietors, and also individuals from, say, the city up in Providence to basically be on an even keel. In addition to that, it allows the public to monitor spending and ensures that the bidders are basically all are on an even keel. And in addition to that, it all ensures that we also get to evaluate whether or not those individuals understand the full scope of work. So in other words, by raising this amount to say 20,000, where something could just be awarded to an individual or an outlet, we don't get the correspondence back and forth by the acknowledgement of the bid and be able to evaluate whether or not they understand fully the scope of work. So in other words, if we're getting bids in that are within $300 of each other from several different entities, it also allows us basically to establish what the fair market value of a particular job is. So in the future, we don't know who's going to be sitting in these chairs. And sometimes a council person may understand what the fair value of the job is, and they may not sometimes. And in my opinion, by keeping this at the $5,000 limit the way it is right now before an RFP has to go out, it allows for checks and balances both ways. Both the public can view and see what's going on and what's going out to bid. And in addition to that, we can also evaluate whether or not the individuals submitting for the bids understand the scope completely. So by removing that, I feel that it hides the spending activity of the council in a way, because they could just be putting out these jobs and allocating them without really the scrutiny of the people. And I don't think that's transparent. It also allows ample ability down the road, because we don't know who's going to be sitting in these chairs in the future, for potential fraud or favoritism by awarding contracts to friends or groups that they may have an understanding with. So basically, it also will not allow us to check or verify the qualifications of the companies, because if the bid is just granted and we don't have the paperwork that's put in place for reflection on that, saying, do we have the background? Are they insured? Are they ready for the job? Are they roofers? If you're putting on a roof, I mean, we don't know who's going to apply for these bids. So in my opinion, where it's at currently, I think allows for checks and balances both ways for everybody. And I would urge the council to consider not accepting that portion, in my opinion. I feel almost it's an attempt, and it's not an accusation, to almost clandestinely remove the ability for the public to scrutinize and have oversight over what's being put out for jobs around the town. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Val, please.
I would like to reiterate Mr. Pinio's position on that. I handle many contracts, mostly federal contracts, and I know it's time consuming putting RFPs out. And the more you do it, though, the easier it gets. Okay, and the more you're used to it, the easier it gets. And I don't see any reason to drop that threshold. I think that threshold was a good threshold till now, and I think we should stay with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sal. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. I think that's it. Do you see any hands? All right, we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to announcements. I have one which is to recognize the passing of a Jeanette Brousseau, who was a friend to many and a free spirit and will be greatly missed. And I'd like to ask that we just take a brief moment of silence in Jeanette's memory. Thank you. Next item, request for legal services from town boards, committees, and commissions. We have none. Approval of minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th, 2026 town council meeting unless anybody has any omissions or corrections.
Sorry. No, it's fine. Andrew, a second. I just have a question. I'm a little confused on the 32 Commons issue. We approved,
That is in our agenda under item old business 2. So we haven't gotten to that one yet, but we're going to discuss that one.
I want to wait till then. I can wait till then.
It is on our agenda and
It's on the minutes, so I want to be able to pull it.
okay, I'm going to refer to it and do a clarifying statement on the agenda, but I'm happy to, engage with you when we get
No,
there, if that's okay.
As long as I can reference back to. the
Absolutely.
Minutes.
Is that okay if he references back to approved minutes?
Correct, yes.
Unless you want to change the minutes that you think it's not accurately recorded.
I basically have a question, but it's based on what the new agenda is. It's quoting, saying, I might as well just say it.
Okay.
It's saying electrical work and RFP for 32 Commons,
Mm-hmm.
but we approved a thing for 32 Commons to do electrical work as the smoke detectors. Just,
And I'll clarify it when we get to that agenda item, if that's okay. But yes, I have clarification on that.
okay.
So then we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
All right.
Department head reports.
Place the department head reports on file unless anybody wants to pull any for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Old business 1, request from Young Family Farm for matter of farm accessory ordinance to be remanded to the planning board for further discussion.
I'll make the motion this be remanded back to the planning board, so everybody that didn't have a chance to speak to it will have a chance at the planning board. And just to let people know, after the planning board comes up with a decision, the town council will have a public hearing, so everybody's going to have a chance to speak on it and let their views be known.
Can I comment just for clarification? I'm gonna second that.
The motion's been made and seconded. We're in discussion. Would you like to say something, Mike? Would you wait till you get to the mic and identify yourself, please?
Yes, Mike Steers, Pennsylvania Road,
Get to the mic.
has to do with the burdening the Young Family Farm with this activity. My understanding is that we're considering an expanded accessory use for all farms in town by special use permit. And so I think what you're asking the planning board to do is to reconsider such an ordinance for the town code.
This is a request that was made directly by the Young family to the council. And we are voting on whether or not to give them that opportunity to be heard again or more in front of the planning board. So that's what we're voting on. Okay, thank you, Mike. I have a motion. I have a second. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Got that, Heather?
Yep.
Okay. Old business 2, request for RFP for 32 Commons electrical wiring system. This is what Paul referred to questioning on our minutes. We did previously vote to approve this as a contract extension, essentially, with our contractor of record for 32 Commons. We had awarded him the contract to install the radio box about a year ago. We had a short time limit on that where we had to get it done in 60 days, or else we could potentially have the first floor of the Oddfellows or 32 Commons closed. So we approved the first half of his quote 1 year ago. I believe it was June of 25. And so when it came time to go to the wiring, we voted to approve the second half of it. But what we've chosen to do here is sort of, as Tony likes to call it, a belt and suspenders approach. and go out to RFP for competitive pricing for the second half of that, which is just the wiring. So that's the motion, or that is the agenda item, is to
Right, so the.
go back out.
So the first one where we carry questions, there's no RFP. That was the second approval, those approval.
Yeah, I think that when we were voting on that, I can speak for myself, was operating under the assumption that that was a contract extension because the original quote was a two-part quote from Crescent Alarm. But when I went back to check the minutes and the video from the meeting, I see that the council only voted to approve the first half of his quote, which was the radio box. We didn't vote to approve the second half of the wiring. So now the wiring job needs to be done. And so we're going to RFP for that for competitive pricing, or that's the proposal here.
All right, and so the comment that was made about you had to quote from one, but no, the other one declined to respond.
We had two quotes actually for the radio box. We were unable to get a third at the time. And again, at the time, we were under a time crunch for getting the work done so that they wouldn't close the doors on the first floor.
The decline, I'm sorry, I'm just trying
It's
to.
okay.
My confusion out of.
That's right.
The decline was for a third quote.
For a third quote, yeah, we reached out. There's not that many people who do the radio boxes, according to the chief. We found 3 people, and the third one that we found declined. We got 2 quotes, worked with those 2. We compared those 2 and went with the lower quote.
I'm looking at the solicitor now. That covers our case as far as the RFP is concerned.
Correct, yes.
That was my concern. That
Yeah.
somebody was gonna throw a flag on the plate.
Thank you.
Say, hey, you didn't get an RFP.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do here, if there's a motion for that.
So yeah, that was what I had the concern about was that anytime we go to bids for anything over $5,000, which I think that bid was $10,000 or $11,000.
Mhm.
So which leads right up to Brandon Pinio's situation, that anything over $5,000 needs an RFP. And what the minutes states, I asked if there was any other alarm company solicited. Councilor McHugh stated no. Councilor Tabbitt commented she learned that there is a small pool of companies. There was one other that declined. So now you say there was 2?
We asked for 3. This is about a year ago. I believe it was in June of 2025. We tried to get 3 quotes for it. We were only able to get 2. The third company that we identified declined to offer a quote. And so we discussed that as a council at that time, looked at those 2 quotes, compared them, voted to go with Crescent Alarms, who also is the alarm contractor of record on the building. And they were the lower of the 2 quotes.
So when we go through the charter, when they proposed to raise it from 5,000 to 10,000, that'll be a different discussion. But I think it'd be a good idea for all of us to, if we get anything over whatever, we come up with $5,000 to 10,000. If it's over that amount, we should go for an RFP.
Absolutely.
Everything will be a lot cleaner.
So that's exactly what this is trying to take care of and clean up. So do I have a motion to go to RFP for the wiring system at 32 Commons?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, new business. Proposed amendments to the Little Compton Home Rule Charter. Again, there were copies in the back, so if you don't have a copy, share with a friend.
You have a couple more.
And Heather has a couple more up here, so if someone wants a copy, there's a couple more up here, and Jonathan has them on both the screens. There are 36 proposed charter amendments, which is a lot. I would like to first of all begin by thanking the Charter Commission for all of their work over the last 18 months or so, and thank everybody who participated in those public meetings. The commission heard from department heads, boards and committees, the chiefs, the town moderator, the former and current clerk, the finance director, and several members of the public. They brought us 36 proposed amendments. I'd like to take them one by one for our consideration. The amendments that are approved will then go to the solicitor and the clerk to draft language for inclusion on the ballot and into the charter. The council will have another meeting proposed for next Thursday, the 30th at 6 p.m. Heather, has that been confirmed? Okay. To review the draft language and vote again. This will provide another opportunity for public comment. The final list of amendments will then go to the Secretary of State for ballot inclusion, and then we can all vote on them in November. So moving along, I'll start with section 102. I'm just going to read the title of the section, and then invite a motion. If there's a motion and a second, we'll see if there's discussion and we'll just try to make our way through this list. Starting with section 102, powers of the town. Is there a motion to approve this for consideration of the voters? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's your line, Gary.
What's that?
The town shall comply with all ordinances, regulations.
He does use adhere to.
I did too.
All right, section,
Yes, that is my, it's built into my brain.
good, we can have fun with it, Paul. Section 103, town property.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I thank Vincent Kennedy for explaining what intangible meant because I really didn't know what that meant myself. Tangible, yes, intangible. So I think that's good that that was put in there because of the problems we have in this town with people not paying their taxes. I think something has started, but we back down on that and the financial problem haven't.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Section 202, canvassing authority.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Section 301, date and purpose of financial town meeting.
To approve.
I'll second.
Stopping.
Any further discussion?
It's like doing it. Oh, thank, all right. All right, there we go. We're back.
All in favor?
Sorry, excuse me, Victoria, who seconded?
I seconded it. All in favor?
Don't everybody speak at once.
Is there any merit to?
Any, you want to be in
Larry's-
discussion?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Is there any merit to Larry's suggestion to move section C of this, or subsection C to section 204 of the?
I would never suggest that there's no merit to something that Larry Anderson suggests.
Or is that just making it complicated? Does it do the same?
It seems a little complicated to me since we don't have language for that one on this list of proposed amendments. Any other thoughts on that? Okay. Any other discussion?
You have the ability to amend the proposal. Here now.
Right, I understand. Yep,
Fine.
yep. Do you want to make an amendment, Andrew? Okay, anybody else?
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 302, recessed and special town meetings.
Motion to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 304, notice and agenda for meetings.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it and
Wait.
comment.
Okay, go ahead, Paul, if you're gonna comment.
Yeah, I want to know your opinion on it.
I reiterate what Larry had stated about the word, the clerk who drafts the warrant. Larry did state that the warrant items are already in the budget report. To have the full warrant, which just shows, I mean, minimal, like the statement Larry talked about, to accept the treasurer's report, and then it would have the town sergeant's signature, the clerk's signature, sometimes those things in the process aren't ready to roll based on the timeline of the editing and the printing of that budget book. And also already at times, the budget book spacing is limited. So I think it's not necessary, but that's my opinion as the clerk.
Would you make a recommendation what you would like to see in there? Because this basically falls on you.
Just that it not be the actual said warrant. I mean, warrant item.
You want to leave it?
Can I make a suggestion on this?
Mhm.
You have a warrant, it's a public document, it's the predicate document to having a financial town meeting. Voters should already have it. So I don't think this is necessary. I actually, and I hope this isn't being recorded. I agree with Mr. Anderson, it's duplicate.
Good night, Larry.
Well, a motion is made and on the table to approve, so.
I'm gonna,
Withdraw your motion?
yes,
Who seconded Gary's motion?
I'll withdraw the second.
Okay,
Paul did.
And I would make a motion that we strike the first underlined section of this proposal. I'll keep the second amendment. Is that okay?
Strike the first and leave the last section, and which is the underlined at the end of the third paragraph.
Yeah, which says at least 48 hours prior to the annual financial plan meeting.
Okay.
But the incorporation is out.
Correct.
yes.
Is there a second?
Second, go ahead.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, as amended. Thank you. Section 305, conduct of meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Pardon, is it gonna be the amendment that was suggested by Mr. Anderson?
It was the amendment that, on this item?
He suggested that after a technology department and other town officials. That could be the fire chief, that could be the chief of police.
Oh, inserting and other town officials?
Yes,
Do you want to amend your, would we need to withdraw not to make it complicated for you, I want to,
No, I leave it up to the council, but I again agree with Larry on that the
other officials that,
very integral part, the police chief and the fire chief in the safety of the function of the financial town meeting is very important. Their authoritative figure to be able to handle the flow and make sure it works as necessary and capacity is very important.
Then I will make a motion to accept this with the amendment that states town moderator shall coordinate with town clerk, the information technology department, and other town officials to ensure the town provides adequate space.
I'll second that one.
any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 306, proposals for expenditure outside of the budget.
Make a motion to approve this.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 405, eligibility of council members, town employment. Did I miss one, Heather?
No, I did. No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Section 407, forfeiture of office.
So this goes from missing 3 meetings in 6 months, or a total of 6 meetings for any 1 year. And it's been changed to attends no regularly scheduled council meeting for a period of 3 consecutive months. That's what it was. Attends no regularly scheduled council meeting for a period of 3 months. And then it was changed to scheduled council meeting for a period of 3 consecutive meetings. Okay, or a total of 6 meetings during the year. Now, I'm in my twilight years, and as everybody knows, I take a month and a half off in the winter. And when COVID was out, it was great to have Zoom, where we could all be in our houses and Zoom. And when that was happened, I made every meeting. This seems like a direct attack on me, because sometimes I miss 2 meetings, sometimes I miss 3. So it feels like they're trying to say, well, matter owners can't get out by electing him out, so let's try to force him out because he misses 3 consecutive meetings, okay? which I don't think is right. You got people that come up here, we don't get paid to be here, and now you're putting restrictions on it. And I'll say the same thing on other boards and commissions when they come up. You're asking people to come up here for no funding. We take a lot of abuse at times. I think we do a good job for the town, and now you're putting restrictions on what we can do. There is no way that I shirk my responsibility or anybody else here shirks their responsibilities, okay? So I think that should go back to the way it was.
Gary, I'll stand with you on that as well. I won't deny I've missed 3 consecutive meetings before. This is a volunteer, almost volunteer responsibility. And as someone that has a full-time job, sometimes my job requires me to have evening events that I don't always have control over. And I always try to make sure that they're scheduled appropriately, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. So if people don't like what we've been doing, then they can, vote us out in November, but
I'll make a motion, we leave it as is with no change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Section 408, meetings and procedures.
Motion to approve.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 413, additional council responsibilities.
The council, the way I read it, shall contract an appropriate firm specializing in said work, which I guess is getting a company to come up and codify ordinances or to write the ordinances. Is that what it is? To put them in the form, to put them in the code book?
I can read the, at the bottom of each of these proposed amendments, there's the reason for the proposed amendment. So if it's helpful, I can read this, or we can read it on any that helps for clarity. The proposed changes to section 413A substantially change the time frame in which local ordinances are updated on the town website from 1 year to no later than 7 days following approval. This change is focused on increasing visibility and access to current information for the public. Proposed changes to subsections E, F, and G focus on strengthening the town council's obligations to comply with laws, regulations, and ordinances to increase fiscal accountability, to state oversight responsibilities for key personnel, and require monthly review of financial statements for the public record.
Right, and I read those too, Victoria. I don't think 7 days is enough time. Is 7 days enough time?
No.
No.
Do you want to offer an amendment to the time?
I mean, it's kind of at the mercy of the general code. They get the submission and then they put up the document that would say approved at such a meeting. It's on that first page there, but that may not necessarily get implemented into the actual section accordingly until they print our code. That could take months. They don't do it on a regular basis. And sometimes we've had matters that use the recent or last year Harbor Commission mooring fee adjustment. That was approved. It ended up going back before the council. It was kind of held back before it got put in there because it needed to be reworked on. So I just mentioned all that 7 days is really,
Is the prior, in your opinion, since you're the one that handles this, is the 1 year an appropriate time frame, or at 7 days, it feels like quite a difference?
1 year is excessive. I mean,
months?
6 months, 4 months, I would say that's.
I'll amend that from 7 days to 6 months.
I have a procedural question on the,
Hold on, so
My,
making a motion to amend the
7 days to 6 months.
is there a second on
I'll second.
Gary's motion? Okay. Now we're in discussion. Go ahead, Paul.
just a procedural question, that said, including town administrator and finance director. I'm probably misinformed or confused, but I thought the finance director worked for the town administrator. Is that not true?
Yes, he reports to the town administrator. Yeah.
So
Where are you at, Paul?
why they add and the finance director? Our oversight is the town administrator who
Right.
oversees it all. I just don't understand why the finance, it looks to me like the
Yeah.
finance director was put out for some reason.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what the background is on that text.
On the next page.
It's on item F. It says provide oversight for all appointed town officials, including town administrator and finance director. And Paul is correctly pointing out that the finance director already reports to the town administrator. So really, this is just for the council's oversight of the town administrator. A good point. Yeah, so do you want to add that to, or should we add that to the amendment to the?
Your amendment, yeah.
Well-
Just to strike the finance director.
No, I agree with that, but you know, we've had problems with finance directors. Fortunately, we've got a good one now. So I don't think it's a problem to have more eyes on finance department and, you know, so I think it should be left, but it's up to what everybody wants to. I'll move that be left. Well, I still have a motion on the table.
So we have the motion in the second for changing the text in section A from 7 days to 6 months. Is that correct, Heather? We have both. And are there any other proposed amendments to this proposed amendment?
I'd like to propose an amendment to eliminate the finance director on the oversight on behalf.
Why don't we,
Vote on.
why don't we just leave it as provide oversight for all appointed town officials?
That works. That way it would cover the finance director and everything
Yeah, I
else.
suppose that's a blanket. Yeah.
And then it's not prioritizing.
Yeah.
It's not creating levels of authority or.
I'm gonna make that motion.
Okay, I'll make the
I'm
motion.
just a military guy.
We have a motion.
We have a motion.
Let's approve my motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get to,
So we have the motion in the second on Gary's change from 7 days to 6 months. And all in favor? Aye.
we go to C before we go to the back.
Sure.
So, council may provide for such additional orders as it may deem appropriate. And then they got struck out, and for which the town meeting may have made appropriation. So how are we gonna get an audit if the money's not appropriated for it? It's just a question. I mean, if it seems to be okay, I mean, what I wrote down was no appropriation for the monies to do an audit, then no audit. Any
I
comment?
agree with you. You got to get the appropriation.
So I would move that we leave and for which the town meeting may have made an appropriation.
Yes. Please come up to the mic, Vin.
I'm gonna second your.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we're getting,
Seconded by Andrew.
What was the motion?
the motion was to leave and for which the town meeting may have made an appropriation.
I think this arose in the context of a contingency that could arise in the future where there is a circumstance where a audit would be required under the, if there had been a defalcation of some variety. And the prior authorization applied only to the annual audit. The intention was that the funding for an audit that would arise under what I'll call exigent circumstance would fall, in my opinion, under the incidental and emergency budget line. Thank you for your time.
I stand corrected. He's right.
Okay.
This goes to a situation where an audit is required, not the annual audit. So there wouldn't be an appropriation for that. He's right.
All right, so I'll.
Withdraw your motion?
Withdraw the second.
Okay. Heather, do you have the withdrawals? Okay. All right, any other
F.
discussion? We were going to move on to which one? F. F. Yep,
I'll make a motion that we amend, F to simply say, provide oversight for all appointed town officials.
got that? Did you want to say something, Gary? I mean, Larry?
Have a chance to comment on subsection E before you vote on.
Okay, we're going to vote on this motion in the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Got something on G.
Go ahead.
So it says perform monthly review of town's financial statements and provide public record reports to the first town council meeting of each month, along with the bills to be paid for the upcoming month. So I'm not sure for the upcoming month, I guess I'm not understanding that, but I'm seeing, how do we know what bills we're gonna have come in for the upcoming month?
That section about the bills, yeah,
The bills arrive every day in the mail.
right.
Via email, and they, whatever is brought in up to the moment on Wednesday at noontime is what is on your listing of bills for that immediately following council meeting.
Right.
Unless there is something that may come in Wednesday afternoon that, you know, is like a big road payment or something like that would be added. But other than that, I mean, we don't know. John, the finance director may know, or Jonathan, the IT director may know if there's a contract item that might be coming due, you know, Microsoft or,
Recurring bills, yeah, yeah.
you know,
So Gary, are you just,
I would,
just questioning the end of that sentence after the comma, the along with the bills?
well, yeah, along with the bills to be paid for the upcoming month, how do you know what the bills are gonna
Right.
be? So I would say strike along with the bills to be paid for the upcoming month, unless Vincent, I figured you'd have a comment.
I would recommend that you consider a change from the first meeting of each month. I think operationally, that would place an undue burden on the finance department. Because just the way the calendar works, closing a monthly statement,
Mhm.
you know, consumes some time. So I don't think, you know, the first meeting of a calendar month is operationally feasible. So I would suggest that. With respect to the pending accounts payable, you might want to just use that phrase as the then pending accounts payable, rather than the bills. I mean, you're very, very correct to point out, you know, it comes in at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, who knows? So I would just recommend, you know, the operational cycle of the finance department be recognized within this. Thank you for your time.
You.
So how do we want to change that then?
may I ask, I still don't understand that scenario. That's said. I'm just trying to think about bills are done for the council and be paid, and I'm still understand that.
I believe what Mr. Kennedy was suggesting was that rather than the language that exists, which is the bills to be paid for the upcoming month, it's just to pay the
Pending bill.
pending bills, accounts payable. Whatever bills are pending at that time. I believe that's the proposed change.
How about along with the bills payable? Well, pending
Pending accounts
accounts payable.
Along with the bills pending accounts payable?
Sorry, maybe I'm the only one in the.
That's right.
Not understanding this, but is this meaning that you're giving the finance department, you would be giving the finance department the open purview to just pay whatever comes and not come before the council at a bi-weekly
No.
bi-monthly meeting?
Can I make a suggestion?
Go right ahead. Yes, please.
You know, you have at every meeting.
Yeah.
List of bills to be paid.
Yeah.
The objection is to the last phrase for the upcoming month. So go along with what Mr. Kennedy said, strike first town council meeting of each month and make that reports to the town council on a monthly basis, along with the bills to be paid. And that will track what you're doing currently.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes operationally.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get that change? Because we could make that a motion. Tony, do you have that? Gary, would you like to make that? And what Tony just,
Can you give that to,
The G would read, perform monthly review of the town's financial statements and provide public record reports to the town council on a monthly basis, along with the bills to be paid.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Was there anything else on 413? I think we can move on to 501. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. Yes, that's right. Yep.
So I want to make clear that I have no objection to ensuring compliance and accountability with not only the charter, but ordinances and state, federal regulations and laws. I'm not opposed to that. I just point out that the current language of this is a two-part provision here. The existing language says, I'm reading from the existing charter, ensure compliance, and remember the word "to" is at the beginning of this. So this is to ensure compliance with the charter by all town officials, departments, and agencies. This is the existing language. And to establish a process for review of complaints of non-compliance from qualified electors of the town. As I mentioned before, the town, to comply with this, adopted an ordinance 2-17D that describes the mechanism for enforcement of charter complaints. So I would urge you, if you accept this language, to perhaps have the town solicitor review that section to see whether it's compatible with the new language. I would just urge you to do that.
Solicitor?
It isn't. If this passes, then that ordinance would have to be amended.
Okay, well, I just wanted, you want to look at that ordinance and try to think of the consequences of adding whole other categories of grounds for complaints.
$501.
Thank you, Larry. Section 501, fiscal year and definitions.
I think this is just clarification of what the definitions are, or they are the definitions, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Anya? Sorry, Heather, we can go to you after Anya.
Martha's? Yes.
Yes, thank you. I passed it off to Anya.
The Martha plea. Martha, in reading this, pointed out that under budget timeline, item, so that's F, that it's more practical to say by the 31st of December. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you
So I would propose that we strike January and insert December there. And then under 4, it reads, a copy of the town warrant will be provided by the budget committee immediately following its adoption by the town council, and that should read to the budget committee rather than by.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Martha. I'll make that motion. Heather, you already have that language?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll have to amend my motion to include Anya's
Yep.
statements.
Thank you. And did you have a second, Gary?
Second,
Andrew, second.
yeah,
Andrew, second. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Section 502, Budget Committee.
I didn't have any, I couldn't see anything wrong with that one, so I'll make a motion to approve.
whole section.
All in favor?
Aye.
502, 503, preparation of the budget.
I don't have anything written down on this one either, so I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Section 504, public hearings on budget.
Payment, oh, yep.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 505, capital program.
So 506B, this,
505. Okay.
oh, motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 506.
506B. Tony, is the state upped the amount that you have to go out to bids from 5,000 to 10,000?
It, currently 45-55-9 is at 5,000 individually and then 10,000 for construction in aggregate. There was a bill in that would have changed that to the
10,
the figures you see here in 506B. But that bill did not get through the General Assembly. It made it to the last step and then they adjourned. So
That wouldn't be a requirement on towns to comply with that.
correct.
That would only apply to state contracts.
I've always read Title 45, Chapter 55 to also apply to cities and towns. Not to say that a city or town can have more stringent regulations, but they can't exceed past it. I've always, that's been the advice I've always given.
so my recommendation would be to leave it as it is.
Is there anything in state law about basically inflation? 5,000 was a limit set so many years ago. 5,000 isn't 5,000 today anymore. 5,000 today is.
Wasn't that why the General Assembly was going to bump it to 10?
Yes,
Inflation?
the bill just didn't make, it made it
Right.
the last step and then just didn't get over the finish line. But you're correct.
Right.
By the way, that would have matched the CPI from the last time they changed it going through, but it just didn't pass.
So if we do nothing, we stay compliant or in line with what the state regs are.
That's correct, yes.
I'll make a motion to leave 506B as is.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Section,
Be just section B, you.
oh, I'm sorry. So we were on section 506. Yeah, we were under discussion on section B.
Okay.
The other change that was in section A, I guess it's A and B.
Yeah, I would suggest we leave section 506A and B as is.
Second.
That, by the way, A does comply with 45-55-9. Just so you know, I'm not saying you need to do it, but it's compliant. The amendment is compliant with state law.
But we can be more stringent than state law.
You can, yeah.
So we can leave it.
You can leave it as is. Yes, you can.
So my feeling is get an RFP and everybody's going to know what's going on, rather than one person on the council saying, well, I can bid up to $20,000. So, I mean, if that wasn't going to go through, I was going to say, well, it would have to have council approval. And that it went through the way it's written, it would be no oversight on spending, so.
So Heather, the current motion is to leave that entire section 506 and not make any changes to it. So the amendment on 506 does not pass.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We vote?
And do we need to vote on not passing something?
I would.
Well, yeah.
You don't need,
it was the
but you can.
motion to leave it
Yeah.
as.
I think, but if we're not doing something, but fine, we can, yeah, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done that previously.
Yeah, have I?
Okay.
All right, I'm trying to keep, it's a lot to keep track of.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
510, budget adjustments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Section 511, currently titled Council Discretionary Fund, proposed new title Town Council Incidental and Emergency Budget.
I'll approve that. Motion to approve.
Second. Sounds a lot more professional.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 512, formerly titled, or currently titled Reserve Fund. Section 512, new title proposed, the Town Contingency Fund, TCF.
I didn't have anything written down on this, but it's for a layman, it gets kind of confusing.
I'm going to read the reason for the proposed amendment because I do know that there has been robust debate and conversation and deliberation on this item. The reason for the proposed amendment, the finance director and members of the budget committee proposed the deletion of wording about the fund formerly known as quote unquote reserve funds, which has been a source of confusion and potentially a source of fiscal misunderstanding. The proposed changes include a new section 512 named the Town Contingency Fund, TCF, with a statement of purpose and descriptions of the TCF's components with associated responsibilities. The objective of the changes is to increase transparency and accountability for manage and use of the town's contingency funds. Do we have a motion on this yet? Oh, I have Ben Kennedy and then Andy Ryan.
This is a factually intensive topic. The issue arose that Section 512, as currently drafted, referred to two funds, the cell tower fund and the reserve fund, one of which no longer exists. That was sometime in 2023, what used to be the cell tower fund was retitled with some transactions now being referred to and titled as the Cell Tower Reserve Fund. So in part, this language is to conform to the current use of account titles. More importantly, the use of funds under this were limited to three circumstances. For use in rather than borrowing in anticipation of taxes, could be for construction. It could be also for emergency purposes. Much more importantly, under the Section 512, any funds drawn from that account was subject to repayment by appropriation in the next year's tax year. So if there is, by way of example, and this is just to make it up to illustrate the point, if there's a breach at South Shore Beach and it costs $50,000 to fix it, that goes into the tax base the next year. So that's one purpose, was to sort of smooth out, if you will, the use of funds without a mandated source of repayment. So that was the principal hurdles with respect to the existing 512. The proposed Section 512 combines what is now called Cell Tower Reserve Fund and the Reserve Fund, that between the two of them have a current balance somewhere in the order of $320,000. And it lays out that any funds received from the cell tower leases are paid into the contingency fund until a $400,000 balance is attained, and any amounts received in excess of 400,000 is then the general revenue of the town. So it provides some operational flexibility above 400,000. It also provides that there are voting requirements to draw in the event of exigent circumstance, but not the immediate obligation to repay in the next tax year. So it provides further financial flexibility to the town. This was a hideously complex set of circumstances. I hope I've captured the essence of it, and thank you for your time.
Ben? Andy?
We are so lucky to have Mr. Kennedy come and spend so much time with us on these very complicated financial topics. But I will note that we spent 10 hours talking about this in the budget committee, I think, something like that in committee. So probably if you added it all up. One thing I think you should also be aware of is that Bob Mushin is the only person who really, I think, clarified this issue for us in a meeting where he was able to give us the complete history of how the fund popped up. And it really was from the cell tower revenue. And it was, what do we do with that? And then how do we use that as some type of fund? And then it could, right? But it has never been used that I know of, or very sparingly, and money has just built up in there. And so you have a nice emergency fund, but real no way of using it. And then I think the next thing you need to understand too is that we probably will not have cell tower revenue forever, because the next generation of cell towers will go on light posts. And that's not going to happen today or tomorrow. But when that does come through, you're going to lose $45,000 in that revenue that's building that fund up annually. And so you should not come into custom to having that revenue necessarily. And I think that's why we kind of thought about putting a structure of a $400,000 cap before it flows in before it flows into the general revenue fund, basically, right? So those are I think the context there. I think Vin did a really great job explaining the nuance behind it. But I can tell you, we spent a tremendous amount of time on this. This is an enormous, people have no idea what this fund is. It's why you can't track it financially right now. And so we just tried to clean this up and provide some structure for how the council may use the fund and then how you may repay it. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Do we have a motion on the table on this one? I don't think we do.
To approve.
Second. I got a
No, you didn't.
question.
Okay, we have a motion from Gary, a second from Andrew and Paul. Go ahead.
For some odd reason, the cell tower fund was somehow tied into the fire department, and I can't remember why. I remember we bought a fire truck with it. And it was on a payment schedule and the cell phone supplied the money. There was some contingency.
That may have been prior to 2021, which is the last debit transaction that I could look at. So for the last 5 years,
Nothing's been drawn from it.
there's been no other than the credits to the cell tower reserve fund from the lease payments. There's been no transactions.
Okay. Just something that popped in my head from sitting here a while ago.
It was 2019, but that's a guess on.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 601, Town Administrator.
So 1B. Compensation benefits for the town administrator shall be as set by the town council. And should that read approved at financial town meeting?
Not sure.
Financial town meeting has ultimate authority.
Of of everything, of all the, yeah.
So we set what the benefits for the town administrator, but we still have to have approval by the financial town meeting. So I would just add that to the end, town council and approved at the financial town meeting.
I'm just not sure it's necessary because everything gets approved at the financial town meeting. Why would that have specific? I mean, I know that there's precedent language that they're proposing striking out, but other than that, I'm not sure that we would need that language in there.
Well, I think the way that was originally read was the town administrator shall be as set by the financial town meeting. And financial town meeting does not set compensation and benefits. They only
Correct.
approve what the town council has already said are the compensation and benefits. So now it says the compensation benefits for the town administrator shall be set by the town council and approved at the financial town meeting. So the way it was originally, financial town meeting would set the compensation and benefits. Now it says the council will, but it still has to be approved at the financial town meeting.
Victoria, you have
Sure, please come to the microphone.
I mean, I'm open to clarification.
Well, and I,
Identify yourself, please.
oh, sorry, Bonnie Finney.
And Chair of our Charter Commission. Thank you, Bonnie.
Although I delegate a lot to that event. The main point was clarification, just exactly as you say, Gary, that everyone's salary and benefits is approved by the town council. But for some reason, it was stated in here that for the town administrator, so which is illogical. So we just changed it for clarification. And I don't know, and it's under the title of town administrator. So I think that the change is simple and just to get it out of the hands of the financial town meeting, because as you say, they all go there anyway.
Right.
Okay, so that's why we changed it.
I'm gonna let you know what the legal import of this.
Thank you.
Take a look at it, your collective bargaining agreements, which are the contract. Once you enter into them, if the financial town meeting doesn't fund that, the town is still obligated to pay. By doing it this way, once the town council sets that, whether or not the financial town meeting funds it, it's a contract and you're obligated to pay.
So we don't need approved at the financial town meeting in that.
If you don't have that language in and you have that contract, if it's not funded by the financial town meeting, the town is still obligated to pay.
Right, so should that language be in there or not? Or should it end with town council?
That's a policy consideration.
I have,
Because if you
line with a hand up, you can come to the, while the solicitor finishes and
finish,
that's what I'm just,
if you put that language in, set by the town council and approved by the financial town meeting, if the financial town meeting says no, then the contract is not effective as to that portion of it. Okay, if the language isn't in there and the financial town meeting does not fund it fully, then that's, the town will still be obligated to pay. That's the legal import of this. That's policy consideration for you on this.
thank you, Tony. Andy?
So I would just remind you how the financial town meeting works, and that is the budget committee makes a recommendation that's based on the town council's recommendation. So the budget committee's recommendation for a salary for an individual would be the elected individual, like the clerk's salary and compensation is by the budget committee. Town council sends everything else to us, I believe. We then vote on a recommendation, and then the voters at the financial town meeting approve the line item numbers at the not line by line. Voters cannot amend line by line budget details. So essentially, you could end up in a situation where someone may make a motion to reduce the line item number for the town administrator on the warrant item to some amount, but that doesn't change how that doesn't give the voters the right to change what is paid in that amount. And so my recommendation would be that the town council sets the salary and benefits, but that the budget committee is the budget committee has basically can go in and adjust those budget items in the budget report. But I'm not even sure if we do line item level work in the budget committee necessarily, where we may do, we would do the bottom line, but I'm trying to think in a case where we have changed a subpart of a warrant, or if we're voting on those warrants to recommend or not recommend. We might not recommend a full amount for a particular reason, right? But I don't know if we would come in and vote to say, change the administrator's salary within that part of the budget. I don't think we do that even I think, so to answer your question, the solicitor's question, I think the town councils, once they vote on a budget that has the salaries of those individuals, the budget committee then I guess, could come in and want to change part of that, but can they actually tell you how to spend that individual's, that account's funds in there? Right? So I think you need to think about how that's done, but I don't think the financial town meeting approves the town administrator's salary. They approve the town administrator, the warrant item associated with that salary. And you would have to have a warrant item that was town administrator's salary, and if you're gonna have the financial town meeting approve that.
So if we strike financial town meeting, which I understand why it doesn't make sense that that was in there and why we would want to strike that, and add town council instead, and I understand why that would be. And now the question is, do we also add to that for approval at financial town meeting? I just wonder if we add the language that it's for approval at financial town meeting, are we suggesting that this one particular salary is somehow handled differently than other salary items that we don't have specific language about further being confirmed at financial town meeting? Do you know what I'm?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make the motion that we accept it as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, that was the one. We're moving on, guys. 605, tax assessor. I'll second.
Sorry, you said 601. You mean
Sorry, did I do the wrong number?
Oh.
Sorry, 601 was town administrator. We finished. Now we're on 605. Okay. Tax assessor.
Approved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Section 611, Director of Senior and Social Services, currently is Director of Social Services. The additional language is senior and that's proposed.
Okay, so on this, and I'm just trying to clarify something. Underlined, it says activities coordinator shall report to the Director of Senior and Social Services. Down a couple lines later, it says the absence or inability of the senior activity coordinator shall report to the Director of Senior and Social Services. And then down below that in the reason, it says proposed changes state the consolidation of two positions into a single position titled Director of Social Services and Senior Director. So it's got it written two ways above, and then what I'm trying to figure out is if it's supposed to be like that or if that's a clerical error.
I see what you're saying in the reason it's worded differently. I'm not sure that that matters as much as the text of the proposed amendment, where I think it's worded correctly. The former titles are in the reason and the current titles are in the new text that's in the underlined section.
But it says the proposed changes state the consolidation of the two positions into a single position titled Director of Social Services and Senior Director,
It's not titled that is your point. Yeah.
and it's not titled that,
Yeah.
so.
it's not the Director of Senior and
Those were the former titles.
I know, but it says the proposed changes state the consolidation is what the proposed changes in it,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Should be. I
Okay,
think you're right. The wording and the reason.
okay, that makes,
Off. Yeah.
that makes sense.
But the wording, I think, Gary, and you tell me if you're seeing it differently, in the body of the proposed amendment, I think is correct.
Okay, right, so now it reads correct, the proposed changes to the state consolidation from two positions.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense now. But before it was,
Mhm.
they were fighting each other, So I'll make a motion that we accept it as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 703, Conservation Commission. I have a motion.
Approved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was
Trying to make sure.
rereading it again.
Section 706, currently titled Pension Committee, new proposed title, Retiree Benefits Committee.
So on this one, a little history, Bob Mushin was on the pension committee. And I think he contributed quite a bit to the pension committee. And whatever happened to the pension committee, he would come back at, quarterly and tell us what was going on, or if something had to come up, or we had to vote on something, he would explain it to us. So is this still going to be a council member on that? Only you can't vote, or, I mean, I think it would be good to have a council member on that, Mr. Kennedy. I know that you're worried about a conflict of interest, but
I don't believe it's a conflict in interest. I think it's a conflict in role. In that one view of the town council is that this body collectively is the adjudicator for all matters coming before the town, including, amongst other things, retiree benefits. And to the extent that a member of town council is a voting member of a subordinate commission, board, whatever you want to call it, it's difficult for me to think of that person being able to exercise impartial judgment in their role as an adjudicator. So partly it's a conflict in role, not a conflict in interest. The second point is that with respect to the other, if you will, other responsibilities of the committee to produce a written report, retiree benefits, depending on where they fall, are typically either the third, fourth, or fifth collectively largest expense of a municipality. And as such, it is helpful that both sets of retiree benefits be viewed holistically, and that a common sense written report be given to the electorate. Thank you for your time.
So this is proposing that we keep a counselor on, just not as a voting member. Is that how you're reading? That's my understanding. Is that how you're saying?
What is ex officio? What does that mean in English?
A true ex officio member is someone that serves on there but doesn't vote. Sometimes that gets corrupted, but
So they-
ex officio member is somebody who's a member by virtue of another position that is on the board and can participate but not vote.
So the finance director can't vote, but he's gonna be the chair.
Correct.
Just find that odd.
I'm not a fan of the term ex officio. But that's the true meaning. Although I can tell you that even in the Rhode Island General Assembly, ex officio members do get to vote.
so says the committee shall be made up of 4 members appointed by the town council, none of which may be the holder of an elective office, which would be a council person. So my thought is, who's gonna say, okay, you guys want this and you guys want that and your pensions, whatnot? Who's actually gonna, if the financial director is ex officio, he can't vote, but he's gonna be the committee chair. So are we gonna appoint somebody that's gonna really take care of the finance aspect of the town? I mean, I just think a town council person should be on there to protect the town. I don't think there's a conflict in role. And go ahead. You're like a 1-year-old.
Sorry, Andy, I didn't look up and I'm sorry about that.
Gary, I appreciate the comment. I think that having the finance director as a professional staff of the town be the chair makes a lot of sense because you have a professional finance person chairing a committee that has a lot of moving parts and numbers associated with it. And then you have people of the town that make up the committee and vote on the committee. But your role as town council is to approve the budget, which has the pension fund and things in it, and oversee that and appoint those people on that committee. So, I mean, I think y'all have a very important role in the committee, but having 7 members of the committee on there in an active role, it would make sense to me that you have a finance director that is a non-voting member that is basically ensuring the committee is operating because they are paid by the town to help operate the town's finances. And so having a paid chair probably makes a lot more sense than having, say, an appointed chair. And then I'm kind of agnostic as whether a town council member is on that or not, but I would recommend that you try to diversify your roles out there and y'all perform your oversight duties on the pension fund and making sure that the pension fund is well funded into the future and takes a look at the growing, the employee base that we have and what that scope is going to look like in the future. But the finance director as a chair, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I would hesitate to have a employee of the town who's in charge of the finance of the town be a voting member on that committee.
My thought on that is if you don't have somebody that's representing the town, an elected official, you got all union people there and it costs you, say, 4 people that are put on by the town council. I mean, I know we have some good members that we've been reappointing right along. But I think somebody needs to be there from the town council just to oversee what's going on and protect the town. And as far as the finance director, we have a tremendous one right now. But if we go back the last 6 years, would you think?
Not going back. How's that?
Okay. But the financial director we got right now, he's not going to be there forever. Suppose we hire somebody that we think is great.
Yeah.
Come to find out they're not great. And then by this ordinance, they're still going to be the chairman of that.
How would you feel about leaving the language in about having a counselor there and including the finance director, like having both in there?
I would go along with that.
So, Sal, do you want to make a comment?
I'd also like to know, Sal Marinosi, I'd also like to know whether there's a solicitor at those meetings.
No.
I think that's a requirement when you're dealing with union contracts.
Thank you.
Okay, and I also like the idea of having a council member and the town financial.
Thank you. So I'll make a motion that we remove the strikeout regarding the member designated from the council in the middle of the paragraph. Heather, I'm going to make a motion and see if I have a second, and then I'll pull people up for who have more comments.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So my motion is in the center of the paragraph, the language that's struck that says, and one council member designated by the council. That remains in rather than be struck out, and then eliminate the next, after the comma, the next section, none of which may be the holder of elected office, eliminating that because obviously the counselor would be a holder of elected office.
You want to eliminate that?
Yes, so basically revert to the prior language about the counselor. So that's my proposed amendment.
Before we decide on that, would it be under your purview to send Mark or somebody to these meetings?
Well, Mark brought up a good point. One of the members of the firm, Steve Antonucci, is considered an expert on municipal and public pensions. If I could, I'd even put his name in. Get somebody there. You actually have somebody who could be value added to this.
And a person from our solicitor's firm attend these meetings.
Correct.
Can add that, we can add that, a representative from the solicitor's firm to attend?
Yes.
I like it.
And when it comes down to the finance director, could that sentence read, the finance director shall be an ex officio member of the committee who shall serve as committee chair and shall have the right to vote?
Tony, can I ask, are you familiar with how other cities and towns manage their pension systems? Do they do it by committee or is it?
Some have committees and some don't. Some just handle it right out of the finance office. But there are other towns that have pension committees, not many, but they do.
Could you just say, Tony, the finance director shall be a member?
Correct, yes.
Get rid of your ex official.
No,
Simplify, I like it.
to charge one, we throw in Latin terms.
I think you've got some hands up.
Yeah, I know we have some hands, but I have a motion. I want to get a second and then I'll take the hand.
Okay.
Okay. Who's up? Bonnie? You come up? Thank you.
I know.
Sorry.
It's all your fault. Back to, okay, one thing at a time is the non-voting, I think is important. Certainly to have the finance director there or even a member of the council there, that's great as far as participation, input and everything else. But for them to have a vote, to me, I mean, the only word that I can think of is just inappropriate. And it's because of their stance within the community. That they should just not have that right. The members of the committee, absolutely. The guidance that they have, fabulous. And the same thing with the finance director. I think it's important that the finance director be there as well, but not in a voting capacity, but in a participating capacity. Any more than if we got an attorney to be present at the meetings, they're not going to vote. So they're more, not figureheads, just more input and informational and supportive, the other reasons, but the other people who are on that committee should be the ones who are making the decisions and making the vote. They're the players. They're the ones to whom this directly affects. So that's why the language was as convoluted as you may think it was. That's why it was put that way. And one other thing that you, which is totally going to leave me now, the line that you just took out, the committee shall be made up of 4 members appointed by the town council and 1 council member designated by the council. You want to keep that in. The only one who may be the holder of an elected office. So do not eliminate the rest of that sentence, but the council member being the only one who may be the holder of an elected office, because we don't want anybody else on that committee to be an elected office anywhere else in the town.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
Question before.
Yes, yeah.
But, I don't know what conversations have been had with
Mhm.
current finance director, and John puts in a lot of time in the days here and elsewhere, but for financial impact on the town, to add that to a financials director's role, I'm just making sure people are aware of this, that he is not a salary position like the clerk's office that takes on more and more and more. But I'm just wondering if that's been brought to light as far as for him to, he, her, whoever have to plan a meeting as a chair, draft an agenda, file appropriately or assign someone and take that time out of his office time to the already large responsibility they have. I just mentioned that.
Thank you. Ben?
Sorry, Mr.
I think there are 2 points, if I could. One, with deference to learned counsel, the principal function of at least the current existing pension committee, has to do with the financial management of the pension fund. There was a conversation during the committee's or the commission's review as to whether this should be an employee benefits generally. And I think that the resolution was that to go much beyond retiree benefits intruded on the proper management role of the town council. That in terms of negotiating collective bargaining agreements and things of that nature. Now, I think, you know, when we're negotiating, the town is negotiating a collective bargaining agreement. You know, council's clearly appropriate, but I'm not sure that's within the setting of a retiree benefits committee unless you were to expand the scope, which I personally would not recommend. With respect to the role of the finance director, I think it's important that that person at least be in the room, in that retiree benefits is, as I said, a large line item within any budget. And in my opinion, is worthy of a singular focus. Thank you for your time.
Ask Mr. Kennedy a question.
Please.
Is it your position that the solicitor shouldn't be at these meetings?
No, it's not. I mean, I think there's, at least in my own conception, this has to do with the financial management, the pension fund as it may evolve or as it exists now. And, you know, but the negotiation of collective bargaining agreements is the business of the town council, not the benefits committee, retiree benefits committee. That would be my position, because I.
Again. Right again.
That's kind of what spurred my question. Do you have much, you don't take much management of pension committees in other communities?
No, all kidding around the side, that's correct. Actually, Mr. Kennedy is correct on that.
Yeah, I mean,
This is a
They're not,
financial issue.
they're not negotiating any.
Correct.
Negotiating this contracts, so.
He really, I think he sharpened up the issue.
So can we amend the motion to take out the section about the solicitor's representative and maintain the rest of the language that's in there?
Sure.
And maybe, would you mind reading it, just so I know where we are?
So you made.
So everyone knows where we are.
Made a motion to, hold on, let me get to keep in, add one council member designated by. And remove none of which may be the holder of the elected office.
Okay.
Left out add the solicitor's office.
Okay, so, and we have a motion and we have a second on that? Okay, and
Yes, Gary.
we've had discussion, any further? Hold on.
a second.
Yep.
You're not changing 4 back to 3?
We are not changing 4 back to 3.
Because it's,
Yeah, you'd have to.
yeah, you have to, so.
Oh,
we'd
good
have to
catch.
Say,
Yep,
the committee shall be made up of 3 members appointed by the town council. And 1.
and 1, thank you, good catch, yeah. So that number has to go along with it essentially.
And Andrew.
So it has to be, the committee shall be made up of 3 members appointed by the town council.
This proposal has struck out the word 3 and added the word 4, so we'll go back to 3.
Yeah.
And then we're consistent. Okay, so motion second, and we're in discussion.
Only one is appointed.
Yeah. Say that again?
Instead of none of which, one of which may be the holder of an elected
Or you could have it say, the committee shall be made up of 3 members appointed by the town council, comma, none of which may be the holder of an elected
There you go.
office.
Yep.
Can I redo this? No.
They probably would like
So
that.
I would suggest we say the committee shall be made up of 3 members appointed by the town council, comma, none of which may be the holder of an elected office, comma, and one council member designated by the council,
Perfect.
each to serve for a term of 1 year. And one member chosen by each collective bargaining unit, and so on.
Okay. I think we're going to vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Next, item 707. We're moving along. Harbor Commission.
To approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 710, Little Compton Housing Trust.
So this is what I was alluding to about absences. You get people, as Andrew so eloquently explained, some are young people, some are old people that are doing other things. Unfortunately, but I don't think anybody just says, oh, no, I'm not going to go to the meeting because I don't want to. So here it says a member has 4 unexcused absences from the trust meeting in a calendar year, January. I believe it was somewhere it said 6. Or it said 6 with the town council, so we're gonna be coherent with everything in here, or is some boards and commissions gonna have different amounts of
Do you propose
absences?
that we maybe just strike those last 4 lines essentially from if a member has 4 unexcused absences all the way to the forfeiture from the trust? Just strike that section?
Yes.
I'd say so. We have enough trouble trying to get people.
I know. Excuse me, go ahead, Leslie. Could you come up?
All of that.
Could you come up? Just so people at home can hear. I'm sure there's millions out there tuned in, wrapped. Waited on your every word.
Leslie Fox. All of that wording is specifically from the Housing Trust bylaws. These were not new proposals. So if you're going to change anything, they have to change their bylaws. I don't know which comes first. But this is the way the Housing Trust, and I checked with Patrick Bowen and several others.
Okay,
This is what they want.
okay.
And they had already made those changes about the forfeiture in their bylaws.
Okay.
Even if they want to change the bylaws this would supersede whatever bylaw changes they make in the future, right?
No, I've got to say, while we're talking about this section 710 says that they're a 501c3 organization. They're a nonprofit corporation. That makes them an entity separate from the town itself. I'm wondering if you even need a section 710. They've been created. They're a 501c3. They have their own bylaws. So I'm wondering why you even need this section in the first place.
Can I speak to this?
Sure.
So this has always been a question that I've had. I believe this is the only this organization was created by the town council by ordinance with the at the time that we were under pressure to comply to amend our comprehensive plan to towns had to come up with an affordable housing plan. Attorney Tights and Planner Shamoon recommended this as a means to creating a 501c3 corporation to comply with that. That was always in the ordinance. This was created by ordinance, not by charter originally. The town really had no say in creating this by the council decided this. We later put in a basic, we later added the charter section to include the housing trust. At the time, all the members were appointed by the council. I believe we have since, with only in the last several years, actually incorporated as a 501c3. I have looked, if you look at the bylaws about the membership, they're quite different than the council originally proposed, but the council has since, by my recollection, not so long ago, ratified the the bylaws for 501c3. So I've always been confused about the authority of the town on the council's volition to create a 501c3 that the voters never approved. So I think you need to look at the Secretary of State and look at those bylaws, because they don't, they've departed from what the town created quite a bit.
Do we have a motion on this? I don't think we do.
No.
Fine.
What's to look into that?
This is what I'm gonna recommend at this point.
Hmm.
Because, you know, if you take a look at the state statutes when it comes to housing authorities, they're separate governmental entities. But their board of directors is always appointed by the considered town council where they reside. Keep this in now, get rid of the last 4 sentences because that's taken care of in their bylaws. Any corporation, nonprofit or otherwise, is always governed by their bylaws. And I understand trying to make it conform, but I just don't think it's appropriate to be this entity. All the other language has to do with how someone gets to be on the housing trust. That can stay. Now,
So you're saying where it starts if a member,
yep,
right down to forfeiture from the trust?
that's correct, yes.
I'll make a motion to strike that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, the last 4 lines,
Member has
If a member,
sentences.
2 full sentences. Yep. Okay, section 711, Historic Preservation Advisory Committee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 901, Police Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Section 902, Fire Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 903, Director of Public Works.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Section 904, Chief Information Officer.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I seconded it. That's okay. Sorry if I didn't.
I heard cricket.
All right, that was 904. Section 1006, Appointments, Qualifications, and Vacancies.
So again, on 1006B, member of a board or commission shall be required to forfeit his or her office if he or she is disqualified from holding office under the terms of section 1007 charter or attends no regularly scheduled meeting for a total of 4 meetings during any 1-year period. So I understand what the gist is of this, to try to get people, if they come forward to serve on a board or commission, to make sure they're dedicated, but sometimes when we put out requests for people to join boards or commissions, they don't even show up. So my feeling is one more thing is, well, if that happens, then I'm gonna be taken off, so why should I apply? So that's my thought. Andrew?
I mean, I think it's the duty of the chair of each commission to make sure that their members are actively engaged. And if they're not showing up, then I think the chairperson should reach out and say,
You're out.
are you okay? Or, what's going on? Can I help? So.
Oh, all right, Andy. Sorry, Heather, I can grab you next.
I appreciate Gary's comment a lot. I was on the Charter Review Commission and had kind of a busy schedule part of the semester, right? Missed several meetings and some, I think 3 meetings in a row, maybe.
You would have been gone.
That's right. And they brought that up when we were talking about it. But I said I could have gone to the town council and appealed my removal, see, and that says that in there. So Gary, if you have someone who's engaged and maybe they are missing some meetings, they could always come to the town council and say, this is why. To me, it just provides a way for you not to have a delinquent member that's holding a spot that's not contributing, and the town council then could act one way or the other. Maybe you want to amend it slightly so the town council has to take some affirmative action on that and let you define what that action is. But I think that it's very hard to get people in town to serve on things. You're exactly right about that. I think if you look at our elected slate coming up, right? Look at the moderator position, right? Okay. I mean, why don't we have younger people in town engaging in these I talked to numerous people in town about some of these positions, and trying to get people engaged is really hard, but having someone appointed to something that's not there all the time, right? I think also creates an equally bad problem, because it tells people that it's okay not to show up. And so you have the out of someone appealing that to the town council. And then y'all can then take the information and vote. So I don't think it removes them. I think what it does is says you might be removed, and the town council is going to look at this if you want to, or you're going to have to step down, and then it lets you appoint someone else, right?
Or they don't come in front of the town council and just say, well, I'm done. You know, and how do you know that that's his regular purview? I think it should be up to the chairman of the board of commission, if this is happening, to talk to him and, hey, say, you're either in or you're out. If you're out, let me know. So I go to the town council and tell them, you're out, we need to appoint somebody else. But I mean, if you ask him to come in front of the town council and appeal him being put out, then you might as well say he's gone. So.
So do we have any motion on section 1,000? Oh, I'm sorry, Bonnie. Thank you.
Want to make one comment about what Andy was saying, is that by having this in, it gives the chairperson permission, so to speak, to have that conversation. Otherwise, there aren't really any guidelines.
Victoria, what I was.
Yes, Heather, sorry.
That's okay. Is that Andrew very nicely put himself out there. I wasn't going to refer to him directly, but I can speak that this came up with a lot of inquiries about what can happen in this case. If there's, not communication, or why they're not there, the boards are meeting, they're doing their hard work, and it makes it difficult because sometimes you may not meet a quorum or something if somebody's not there. But if you repeatedly have someone that isn't coming for whatever reason, there was a lot of research done about what can happen, and I couldn't find, and I spoke to the solicitor about it, there wasn't like a lot of mechanism to make this person either you got to show up or not. So that's really, where this is coming from. That's all I'm saying. And
Thank you.
The commission that dealt with this the most, tried to function as best they could if they were short, but.
Thank you.
I don't see where it says anywhere that he should go to the chairman or anything.
It's to the bottom of section B, Gary, 3 or 4 lines up. A member of a board or commission may appeal to the town council to retain his or her seat as a member due to extenuating circumstances.
Right, but I think Bonnie said that they could go to the chairman of the board that they were on and discuss it with him. I think it's up to the chairman to say, hey, you're either in or out,
Do you want to make a recommendation to any change in section B?
Somebody else say.
Gary, you misunderstood. What I meant to say is that by saying 4 meetings,
Yeah,
that means that as the chairperson, you can, it would open the door for me to go to the person who's missing all the meetings. Otherwise, there's no permission, so to speak, for me to do that.
well,
Just provide the guideline.
I know in other circumstances have been 6 meetings, and I know this is only 1 meeting a month, but in the council, we have 2 meetings a month, but
Would you be more comfortable with that being a total of 6 if we did
Yeah.
that?
yeah.
What do you think? Any other discussion on this one?
I agree with 6.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to change it from 4 meetings during a 1-year period to 6.
And will you also amend, I think we should take the last sentence out too.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Take the last section, which starts terms of forfeiture and ends with charter.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, we're almost there, guys. Section 1102, current title, transitional elections and appointment. Is there a proposed new title? They just struck it. I'm misreading this?
That was the transitional
This is
language.
moving the entire, sorry, got it. I'm used to having a new title. This is just a proposed removal of section 1102.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 1103, current title, transfer appropriations, same.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Current section 1106, pending actions and proceedings.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So now we have a new list with some amended and some that didn't pass. Heather, you have all of that. And I'm confident. And
To be prepared for the ballot at November. My lord.
so having that work done, oh, sorry, Mr. Rocha.
Can I just ask?
Yes, please.
Solicitor, under 901 and 902, it speaks to that an appointee shall be given a contract for no less than 3 years and no more than 5 years. I don't believe we can give contracts any greater than 3 years. You can get a renewable after the 3 years, but I didn't think you could give it beyond the 3 years.
That's what's already in there.
It's existing language.
It says that the contract can be no less than 3 and no more than 5. I don't believe we can give out a 5-year contract right off the bat.
Do I have the same one? I'm looking at, do I have a 901?
Yes.
I'm looking at 3 years experience above the rank of patrol. And that's replaced with 5 years command or supervisory experience.
Further the next sentence.
That's existing language.
And I don't think that we can do that legally. We can't give contracts greater than 3 years, correct?
I don't,
You don't agree with that?
no, I don't. I don't agree with the statement.
So we can give out contracts greater than 3 years for employment?
Correct, yes.
I think you're incorrect in that.
But
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. So we've come to the end of the Home Rule Charter proposed amendments. Heather has a new revised list. And I'm going to wrap that up with a motion to direct the solicitor and the clerk to draft language for inclusion on the ballot and in the charter.
We have to close the public hearing.
We did that one.
We're done with that
Oh,
one.
the beginning.
yeah, okay.
I'll second that if that's your motion.
That is my motion. Seconded.
Okay, for clarification purposes, we have to, Heather and I have to do two things. Number one, make sure that you have the appropriate language that would be included in the charter if the proposals are adopted by the voters. That's number one. Number two is we need to come up with the appropriate language for the ballot, for the referendum questions. And there is a deadline on that for August 5th. And that to me is the key one. That's how you let your voters know when they get in to vote what they're doing, but it has to be a summary. You've got a lot of, there's gonna be a lot of things on this ballot. It's gonna be a long ballot. So we're gonna do the best we can, but we're gonna have to do it in a short time.
Solicitor, are you comfortable with next Thursday's proposed meeting date for having the draft language for us to vote on again? Or would you like to push that? I know you don't want to go too close to August 5th, but do you want to go any further?
So August 5th, Thursday is the day I think you gotta do it. I'm sorry about that. That means we're gonna have to put a lot of time on it, but I'd rather have that earlier day instead of waiting until the last second. And actually, Heather, I'd like to get it a little early over to the Secretary of State in case there's any issues. Then we'll have some leeway to deal with it.
So we have a motion and a second on sending this to the solicitor and the clerk for language development. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you, everybody. New business 2, receive letter of resignation effective immediately from Edward H. Bowen III from the planning board for his unexpired 4-year term ending February 1st, 2027 and post vacancy. I will move that we accept that letter of resignation with regret. Thank Mr. Bowen for his long service. I went back and looked to see when he started on the planning board. It was 2008, so that's 18 years of service on the planning board, and he's also served on several other boards and committees. So thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Second.
Did your motion include posting the vacancy?
It did. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Okay, new business 3, request from the LC Agricultural Conservancy Trust, proposal to amend Appendix 7, transfer tax payment process. And I believe I have the chair of the Ag Trust, Don McNaughton, here to talk to us. Hi, Don. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Don McNaughton, 551 West Main Road, and I am indeed the chair of the Ag Trust. The amendment to our standing rules, in addition of an appendix, to be Appendix 7, entitled Transfer Tax Payment Process. This appendix clarifies how to properly calculate the transfer tax to be paid as stipulated by the state law establishing the trust. Importantly, this appendix provides that the Ag Trust confirm the transfer tax amount to be paid, thus aiding the treasurer's office. It does not place additional burden on work or work on town hall staff and should not add any time to the closing or recording processes. It does require revision to the transfer tax form that the buyer submits, and as with any transition, that change may result in questions. Upon town council approval, we will send out an email with Appendix 7 in the revised form to real estate agents, brokers, and attorneys, put it on both the trust and town websites, and have copies of the form placed in the clerk's and treasurer's offices.
Don, could you also just give us a very brief summary of the travel of this, that it has been in a lot of meetings and discussed at length with the finance director, et cetera, and council on both parties?
Yeah, so we've been working closely with the treasurer's office, both John McNamee as well as Anita Kudo. We've been working with council. We've been working with the solicitor. We've met with the clerk, touched base multiple times with both the town council president and vice president. We've been at this now for a total of 18 months. And I'm hoping that we're in a place now where we can get this approved.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I'm going to add just a letter. I'm not going to read it because I don't think anyone needs to hear me talk much more tonight. But I received a letter today from John McNamee, who couldn't be here for the meeting, writing his to indicate his support for the proposed changes. And he goes on at length for why he thinks it's a good idea and is happy with the change. So I just want to add that to the conversation. So do I have?
So my concern is the person has 6 lots, okay? And he acquired them at different times, but they may be contiguous. And each one of them's got a separate deed. And each one of them's been paid taxes on that separate lot, not as though 5 or 6 lots together, whatever I said. So he's been paying taxes on each lot. Your proposal is to combine all those and only give him one exemption?
Then to turn that over to council and let her answer the question.
I don't think that's fair to the guy that's been paying taxes on a single lot, and then you're gonna combine all 6 lots together and say you're only gonna get one exemption, even though you've been paying taxes and they're coded as a separate lot.
The question is an important one. And let me just say that, first of all, this.
Could you identify yourself? I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Just for the clerk and the people at home.
Getting on in the evening, I'm a little off my game here. I'm Karen Browning on behalf of the Ag Trust.
Thank you.
The question is an important one. And I want to point out first that this proposed rules amendment does not change the Enabling Act. It does not change state law. It doesn't change anything about the calculation of the transfer tax. That all stays the same.
I understand that.
And I will get to your question. Please bear with me.
Yes.
The two-page amendment that's before you, the first page is to simply explain what the transfer tax is. It quotes the State Enabling Act, and it also describes at the bottom section the process. The second page is the form. The form pre-exists. This is not a new idea. We clarified the form to make the math easier. To get to your question about how individual exemptions are applied, the state law and the Enabling Act, or really it's the Enabling Act, is very, very clear. And I will read it to you. The tax is calculated based on the total aggregate collective conveyances, plural, transfers, transactions, number of deeds or other instruments, again, plural, and the number of buyers or sellers participating. There's also language in there about contemporaneous transfers. So it really is going to depend case by case, transfer by transfer. If there's a transfer that comes in and it is comporting to treat what is, for example, being used as one lot, but somehow it has been separated out, whether it's dotted line lots, old lots that are mapped but not deeded, things like that are going to become important. Because if it is a contemporary transfer of all of the rights of a particular owner, then only one $450,000 exemption will apply. It's also important to know on the other way, if you sell part of your interest, that $450,000 exemption then gets prorated. But the law is very clear. It applies to contemporaneous transfers of interests. The plurals are there throughout the Enabling Act, and it is one exemption. So what will happen in your case? I don't know. I would need more facts. The form, that's why the form is spelled out with such information. We would need all of the information to look at it to determine it.
Under that, guys, I think we should push this to the solicitor for comment from him. Even though you say you've talked to the solicitor, I'd like to get some comments from the solicitor. I don't want to see people, so we'll go back to the 6 lots. So they're each deeded separately. They've each been paying tax on separately. If somebody sells one in January, and then in July he sells another one, and then the next January he sells another one, and so on till all 6 lots get sold. How is that going to be? How is that going to work?
That's a great question. And it's not at issue tonight. Tonight is just to put the transfer tax rule codified under the Enabling Act into the rules and regulations. What you're talking about and your concern comes after, once forms are filled out and given to the Ag Trust to interpret. And that then becomes my job, the trust job, the solicitor's job to make sure that no one is violating the law. And I can assure you that given all of the discussion and effort that has gone into this, and my offices and the trust research on the voluminous number of transfers that have happened that do not appear to have correctly calculated the tax, that we will be looking at this very carefully with the goal of 1, complying with state law always, and 2, being consistent so that everyone is treated consistently across the board.
I think we discussed this a few years ago. Go ahead.
May I ask you a
Sure.
question? I think this is gonna clarify things. I see the term contemporaneous. That means at the same time.
Correct.
Okay, so the example, one lot is conveyed out in January. In September of that year, another lot goes out. The next year, another lot goes out. In that circumstance, then, under this regulation, it would not be the combination. They have to be conveyed at once.
Correct.
Okay.
You have to meet the enabling acts definition of the transfer tax and how it's calculated.
Okay, so Gary's example of conveyances that are not contemporaneous would not be captured by this change in your regs.
It is very possible that when you fill out a form, the closing or the transfer contemplated at that moment should be fully filled out. I would never advocate for someone to purposely delay selling land or conveying interests in order to avoid the transfer tax. But yes, the contemporaneous language is in the act.
Can I make a comment here? I'm just trying to put this in English. You guys are legalese, it drives me crazy. Let's use Gary's example.
Mhm.
You've got lot 1 through 6. You come in with lot 1, you fill out an application. Administration triggers the tax,
Mhm.
450,000.
Mhm.
The next day you come in, hey, I'm gonna sell my other lot. Don't you have to reapply all over again? Start like from scratch?
It really depends. There's so much other information that we would need. Historically, we have a history of taking what we're calling separate lots, for example, which in your mind, as you're sitting here, it seems like a clear idea. Separate lots, lot lines, deeds, things like that. Not always so clear. We have an issue historically where lots have been created historically, they've then been merged, or there's been an idea that they may have been merged. And then owners have then said, well, I never officially merged them. The assessor hasn't merged them, so I can sell them separately when really they are merged. So again, I go back to the idea that the rules amendment before you tonight is just to codify the enabling act, the state law, and to give some clarity on the math and how to calculate the form. The interpretation and the application comes later. And those issues will arise as they will arise as people fill out the form and discussions will happen. But as always, again, the goal is consistency and compliance with state law. It's going to be a case-by-case basis.
May I ask another, just a quick clarification question? It's slightly off topic. And by the way, blame Mark Hartman for this one, not.
Okay, will do.
The reg is reported, and the form is assessor's plat and lot. Do you see any problem with that?
Where are you? I'm sorry, where are you looking?
In other words, Mark, the regulation you have references recorded lots.
I'm not seeing the language where Mark.
Mark?
That'd be under section 8, paragraph 3. As used herein, the total purchase aggregate consideration received by a seller or sellers collectively for the transfer of each recorded lot of real property, whether in a single conveyance or in separate contemporaneous conveyances.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm just a clarification.
Absolutely.
Little Compton real estate transfer tax form. It's with assessor's plat and lots. Or at least I'm assuming that first lot, plat and lot goes to assessor's plat and lot.
I'm not sure what the question is, but I'll tell you that that language that you're quoting is from the State Enabling Act. We did not draft that.
I'm not saying that. I just want to make sure that this discrepancy doesn't create an issue.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're pointing out a discrepancy between the Enabling Act and the form?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm on the first page or on the second page?
I don't even know if it is. I just and make sure it's not an issue.
And the second one down at the bottom of the first page where it says the completed form shall be included with any request for municipal lien certificate intended for purposes of real estate conveyance and transfers. Can you explain that?
Yes, so right now, your municipal lien certificate that is issued today has language in it that says I'm paraphrasing. Hey, by the way, in addition to whatever taxes are indicated here, there may be an additional tax that is owed to the Little Compton Ag Trust. So what we decided to do in order to take the burden off of staff and give it to the Ag Trust to review these forms and the calculations was to say, what mechanism can we use to trigger the person involved in the conveyance to have to submit the form? And that's where the MLC became the easiest way to plug into the process, to make sure that everyone gets access to the form and everyone knows when it has to be turned in.
Comments? Sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm the town clerk and I have some concern with this, which I've already expressed to a couple members of the Ag Trust based on timing, reporting land evidence records. Office is responsible for. And you made a statement just now about to remove the burden off of the staff. In my experience here and prior, the receipt of the Ag Trust document to be accepted via the Finance Department, formerly Treasurer, Town Tax Collector's Office, and the Clerk's Office, more so is requested from the Finance Department upwards of 3 months in advance. And, then received, and then the attorney or the closing real estate agent, individual for that matter, would hold on to that and record that as part of the recording process for a deed, which is not a requirement to have a deed recorded. I cannot refuse in the clerk's office a deed to be recorded without a municipal lien certificate. 90% of the time it's present. But there are times when either it wasn't requested ahead of time or, they didn't receive it in the mail in time or for whatever reason. And then that comes in maybe a few days later, a week later, whatever, be recorded to satisfy that factor. So I did bring up my concerns with the hardship to many in this aspect of all this. And I'm not for or against the Ag Trust or anything like that, and I don't want to be perceived as that, but I'm just really concerned, and I've been voicing my concerns for the clerk's office, from the clerk's office, for those that have to do this, whether it be a real estate attorney, an individual for buyer or seller, the financial hardship or loss they may have if they thought that a closing was scheduled at 10 a.m. today here in the council chambers, to then go to the finance office and do their recording of the Ag Trust form, to them come to the clerk's office, and then by 10:30, the attorney saying, yeah, send the wire. And I understand there's some mechanism that has to be put in place to clear this up, but this is really going to put a hardship on if you're requiring this to be done at a time of lien filing for those that have closing scheduled to be able to do the transactions as necessary.
Yeah, could I respond to that if I may? I think I'd be able to clarify this for you. This in no way is related to any recording of a municipal lien cert. This amendment, this form does not require a recording of the form or a recording of the municipal lien cert.
Yes, but in here, if I'm reading it correctly, you're asking for the ag trust form to be submitted at the time of the request of the municipal lien certificate. Am I reading that inaccurate?
Copy of this form, completed by a party to the transaction, shall be included with any request for a municipal lien certificate. It goes on, but we'll stop there. So anybody that is a party to the transaction, at the time they come into your office, I assume whoever office they go in to get the municipal lien cert, would come in with a copy of the form. And they would say, I need a municipal lien cert, and here is my ag trust form. That's it.
Okay, I guess maybe I'm not being clear about the process and how a recording is done, or maybe a closing is done. And I understand we're not responsible for attorneys or real estate agents or a buyer or seller. We are the town, but the flow of a process for a closing. We live in Little Compton here, where a lot of our buyers or sellers don't even live here. And you know, they may come into town for the closing, or they may come into town now, get everything, all the ducks in a row. The attorney goes back, okay, here we go. I'm going to have the closing or whatever. So I'm really concerned on the hardship that this is going to cause for not only the town, but, you know, for the pushback that we're going to get, but also the fact that those that are involved, this is really going to be a problem.
Can I, sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
Heather, can I try to understand more the specific issue that you're worried about? Because the transfer tax form will be filled out, submitted to the treasurer's office, signed by the ag trust upon confirmation, stamped by the treasurer's office, and then they go over to the clerk's office to record. And when they get to the clerk's office to record, they have the stamped and signed ag trust form, right? And then they go about recording just as they've always recorded. So I don't.
Well, my concern is that, and I'm not trying to belong this, but you just stated something, that a question that I had asked initially when one of the Ag Trust members reached out to speak to me. I said, what is the turnaround time for the Ag Trust person to review that? And I did not get an answer.
That is, well, I apologize.
So is it 48 hours? Is it 48 minutes? Is it 2 weeks? Because there you can't go in and file and then go into the clerk's office, ask for the municipal lien certificate
That is,
for the clerk's office and file.
that is the sole reason why we're asking for the ag trust form to be submitted when they request the MLC. It has nothing to do with the MLC or what happens to the MLC. It's just that if they can submit the form at the time they request the MLC, while the treasurer's office is preparing the MLC, the ag trust will then be confirming the transfer tax to be paid. So we're simply using the time that the MLC takes to be prepared for the ag trust to confirm. That's why we built it into the process that way. So there's no extra time being added to the process. We'll confirm while the treasurer's office is issuing the MLC.
Okay, I still believe that there's a time problem there because, as I said, MLCs sometimes are requested 3 months in advance. Sometimes they're requested a week in advance. The attorneys come in and pick up the MLC.
Yep.
And to get that ag trust form signed, we already it's not really our problem, but we already are presented on a regular basis with a deed to be recorded. And we go, where's the MLC? Where's the ag trust form? What do you mean? Because not a lot of people know about the ag trust form. We educate them, that us in Block Island, and then it's a scramble to get that ag trust form done. And so I'm just bringing up the fact of timing. It's really, I believe, from my experience, going to cause a hardship to people on their closings.
Okay, I think we've built a process. Well, sure.
As soon as Don is done, you're next.
All right.
No, I was saying as soon as Don is done, because he was in the middle of a sentence. Don, please. I'm sorry, Don. I was just letting her know she was next.
I think we have tried to build a process that accepts the fact that we are not trying to add any time to the process. And I know that you've got concerns about that, and I appreciate that. I would just like to point out that the number of instances in which the Ag Trust believes that the improper tax has been paid over the last number of years has grown and grown to a point where that is the hardship, that people are not being dealt with equitably in town. So there is a difference in the amount paid case by case, and that shouldn't be the case. So while I understand that there might be, with this transition to the new process or a different process, there might be some burden. I'm telling you, the burden that the town already feels in not equitably collecting the tax, in my opinion, is much larger than that specific issue. But, I think this is where the Ag Trust, the clerk's office and the town treasurer's office should all work together. And if there are problems, we'll fix the problems. But right now we have a problem that's not been addressed for years, and we're trying to address it.
Thank you, Don. Denise?
Yes, Denise Cosgrove, tax assessor, and I work closely in the finance department. And over the years, for almost 20 years now, I've seen this problem get it worse and worse. So when an MLC comes in, it comes in usually with plenty of time. I don't remember the exact time frame, but Anita has quite a bit of time to respond to an MLC. I think it's 10 days or 12 or 20 days, but I'm not exactly positive on that. So having the form from the Ag Trust come in at that time is I think, very important, very important. And it will stop a lot of questions on her end, and I think it'll save a lot of aggravation. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I'm going to add, I wasn't going to read John McNamee's letter, but since we've heard from the clerk and the tax assessor and the Ag Trust and everyone, I feel like I should read it just so John is heard on this. I'm speaking in John's voice, what he wrote to me today. I am writing to indicate my support for the proposed changes to the transfer tax assessment policy to be presented by Mr. McNaughton at tonight's town council meeting. We have been discussing these changes for months, and the result will be a more accurate transfer tax assessment, since representatives from the Ag Trust will be reviewing the tax calculation prior to the finance department processing the collection of such taxes. This will result in a more accurate MLC for the payment of the transfer tax prior to the recording of property transfer. As you are aware, the past practice was for the tax collector to receive a signed document from both the buyer and the seller on the amount of the tax based on a predetermined formula. When received by the tax collector, a recalculation of the tax due was prepared based on the agreed upon formula. No additional support was being provided. If a dispute as to the amount of the transfer tax was determined by the Ag Trust, it would be after the transaction was complete and the tax was paid, if any. Under the proposed changes, the form that is being used to calculate the transfer tax will still be signed by the buyers and the sellers, but a representative from the Ag Trust will sign off on transaction prior to the payment of the tax. Accordingly, any disputes will be addressed in a timelier manner prior to the closing. The proposed changes will not add any additional burden to the staff and finance office, since we will process the payment of such taxes in the very same manner as we always have done. But now we have sign off by an Ag Trust representative on the form. Respectfully, John McNamee, Finance Director. Larry.
So as Don knows, and as other members of the Agricultural Conservancy Trust know, this issue, I've been before the Agricultural Trust for 25 years on this one. The poison pill was when the law was amended in 1999 by adding the phrase "each recorded lot" to language that was created by the trust lawyer at the time. The contemporaneous language, the council wouldn't send it to the legislature without adding that "each recorded lot." That problem has festered to the point of, and personal note, I was going to trust meetings and finding mistake after mistake in the filling out forms. But by then they were recorded, and there's no mechanism in this to correct a mistake. But the real problem now is the equity problem, because as if we've increased the exemption from 75,000 to 150 to whatever to 450, if there's a mistake, that inequity in the application, just mistakes, that's one of the mistakes that's being made, either by intention or just confusion. People are paying different, substantially different taxes based on mistakes or the multiplication of lots. I'll give you an example. It's not to single it out, but when the vineyard was last purchased, that's 11 lots in a contemporaneous purchase. If that property is sold, that's 11 times 450,000. The exemption on that is millions of dollars compared to the same amount of, same dollar amount for a property in one parcel. We don't deal with our property taxes that way. So the equity problem, the fairness, if we were applying the same system to our property taxes, it'd be a riot in town hall. So something has to be done and the only other precedent for this in Rhode Island is Block Island Land Trust, which has very similar language. They have been following this system where the trust signs off on the accuracy of the form. They've been doing that for 40 years. I mean, I imagine that the closing things for a place you have to fly in to do a closing are pretty complicated, but they figured it out. So we either have to do this or we have to go back and amend the law.
Barry? A motion on this?
Motion to approve this.
My motion was to,
I'm sorry.
I didn't make a motion. I believe I made a motion.
Heather, what was Gary's motion? Could you read that?
Make one.
You started to say included with the MLC, but you didn't finish.
I thought I made a motion to get some more clarification for this from the solicitor.
Oh, I'm sorry, you did. Yes, I apologize. Let me turn the page. Yes,
Was there a second?
no. You made a motion to refer to the solicitor for further review and comment.
I mean, I think Heather's made some comments that I think need to be cleared up so that this is a smooth and orderly transition between departments downstairs. And I understand that previously the Ag Trust didn't look at their, and I may be wrong and you can correct me, didn't look at their exemption form before the deeds were recorded. And they're trying to do that now, but what's happened in the past is in the past, and whether this is going to resolve that, I don't know. So that's why I'd just like to have some answers from the solicitor before we go sign something that, you know, like my situation, if you got 10 lots and you sell them all at the same time, but you've been paying separate taxes and they're deeded separately. Well, the trust lawyer says, well, we don't know how that's going to, we have to see it before we can make a determination on that. In my mind, it's pretty clear. You got 10 lots that you've been paying taxes on separately, they're deeded separately. And now if you sell them all at once, it's contemporaneous and you're going to get taxed on each one of those. Is that how it is or?
We have a motion and not a second, and we have Don. Go ahead, Don.
Gary, I appreciate your concerns. Having looked at the various transfer tax transactions for the past 5 to 10 years, that issue is not one of the issues that has come up time and time again. So I'm not saying that that may not occur, but that has never occurred in my memory, and I admit that it could be faulty at times. So I don't think that your particular scenario is one that has ever been brought to my attention. So I'm sure we can create other scenario that might cause some level of confusion, but 99.9% of the transactions that are carried out with this process are pretty rote, and there are many instances of people misapplying the transfer tax exemption, as well as taking a $450,000 exemption when they're only purchasing a fraction of the property. Those are the two that I see time and time again. So again, not to say that your issue may not come up in the future, but if it does, we'll deal with it. But that is not sort of top of mind for me.
I just would like to say that I have issue with the equity piece of this. That's what bothers me the most when we look at the transfer tax exemption amount. In my mind, raising it as the Ag Trust did, well, was it 2-3 years ago to 450? In my hope was that it would make housing a bit more affordable for the first time home buyer who gets an exemption of 450, not for the person who batches all their lots together and takes multiple exemptions. So whether it's intentional or accidental, I think we have an equity problem. And I think that's worth noting.
So should we allow the solicitor to come back with some kind of recommendation to us?
Are you proposing we continue it pending some feedback from the solicitor?
How about contingent upon the solicitor's review?
Continue it contingent upon the solicitor's review.
I'd rather have the solicitor come back and give us this explanation about what all these things are gonna do.
I
mean, you've been working on it for 18 months, another couple of weeks isn't all.
I understand that. But
In another meeting, we will also have a full council, which would be good council here to vote for it.
Yeah.
okay.
One last point. Tony and I work together a lot. We have a great relationship. I always appreciate input from his office. But I will say in this instance, this particular work has been going on for a long time. Mr. DeSisso's office has been given copies and has had the language to review. And going forward, if it is an interpretation question that we're looking for legal advice on, with utmost respect to my brother, that's my role. I am counsel for the Ag Trust. That buck stops with me, with the understanding that if Tony ever called me and said, we have an issue we need to discuss, I will listen and we will discuss that. But my role is to represent my client and to interpret this issue and the issues that come up, the hypothetical included when it comes up, if it comes up at that time.
Thank you. Tony, can you?
Yeah,
Ben? Thank you.
It's legalese from Karen, which basically says she's sick of dealing with me. After we get done with what we're going to be doing on the with the charter provisions, then I'll be able to take this up. We'll be ready for your next regular meeting.
So Gary's made that motion to continue it pending the solicitor's review and recommendations. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No, are you aye? All right, unanimous, Heather. Wait, aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Let's see, Ag Trust number 4, new business 4, options for 2026 paving program and potential vote on RFP. Anya?
I'm gonna recommend, because it's the one meeting that we postpone this to your next regular meeting.
Motion to postpone this agenda item to the next town council meeting.
All in favor? Aye. Number 5, request for approval of RFP for paint removal and repainting DOT garage located at 144 Willow Ave.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 6, Anya is on this one. Request to apply for state funding for an EV charger.
Gonna pull the same card on this one and suggest that we post.
Motion that we push this forward to the next scheduled council meeting.
All in favor? Aye. Number 7, request for approval of hiring a DPW employee. Anya's given us a letter with her recommendation and the recommendation of the department head, Ted Boddington. Do I have a motion on this?
Yeah, so the only question I had on this is how many people will that bring into the maintenance department, Ted? Good.
You want me to speak to
Just worried about the union contract.
Do you want to speak to the union contract? I think you were,
Or Ted can. Before Ted talks, though, I just want to make sure that you know, there is a typo in my memo. I said Ian had been working part-time. He want to correct that, and then Ted can.
In, what we're looking to do, we obviously have one person out on medical. And then we lost our part-time transfer station employee abruptly one day. Looking to replace that body with a full-time body, basically. So it will give me 5 total, including myself.
And I have no problem with that. I just don't want to have an arbitration coming up that there's only 3 people in the union contract that you can have, or is there 4?
Actually, yeah, I'm taking a look at the last contract you have with this particular bargaining unit. And there's no limit.
Okay.
Doesn't identify who is in the collective bargaining agreement. What happens is it states that the employer hereby recognizes and acknowledges that the union is the exclusive representative for all employees, classifications and categories of work covered by this agreement for purposes of collective bargaining.
So there's no set amount of people that are in the
No, but
DPW?
so long as you know, once this, the fellow gets this employment, he's in the union.
Yeah.
understood.
And I assume that whatever limits would be put on is up to the council,
Yeah, it's not in the agreement.
right? It's not in the contract, so the.
Okay, I'll make motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 8, receive letter of retirement from Captain Randall Watt, who has served the town for 30 years on the Little Compton Fire Department.
Motion to accept with regret, and I will say one thing. Randy Ward has been temporary fire personnel for us for 30 years. And I wish everybody down there, every fireman could, he set an example for and would be like him. So I wish he was here tonight.
Second.
Thank you, Captain Watt, and congratulations on your retirement, 30 years. That's quite a,
Somebody,
I don't think there was a motion. I think,
I'm
He made the motion.
what is the motion? Sorry.
accept with regret,
Okay. Sorry.
and to,
And you seconded, Paul?
and send a letter of,
Oh, it's
thank you.
better. All right, Heather, you got that?
Yes, is it?
Seconded by Paul? Yep, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business 9, Town Common Needs Assessment Committee. This was put on the agenda by Counselor McHugh, who would have liked to have been here and was unable to. So I propose that we continue that to a future meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 10, request from tax assessor Denise Cosgrove, Melissa Bear Appraisal Consulting LLC proposal to provide mass appraisal consulting services.
So is this somebody that's going to be looking for an assessment company?
Denise, do you want to speak to that, please?
This consultant I'm hoping to solicit here is independent of the appraisal company. She's going to look at the data we have, help me to draft the RFP so that it encompasses everything we need it to encompass. And she's going to review what the appraisal company that we do put the RFP out and get the bid, award the bid to. She's going to do what they've done in addition to me. So she's going to work in tandem with me to make sure that everything is copacetic.
And Denise, am I right in understanding that in addition to your appraisal budget, you also have a budget for professional services that this would fall under?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So it's $175 an hour. So that budget you have for outside services, it's not going to go over that budget?
Correct.
Okay. All right, motion to approve.
On paper? Aye. Number 11, presentation by Steve Lubar, Stonewall Stewards. It's my understanding that Mr. Lubar will not be presenting tonight. Instead, he will present at a future meeting, likely in conjunction with Luke Driver.
Motion placed on file. Second.
Could you come to the podium, please, and give us your name, please? I know your name, but just for the folks at home.
So Steve is the president of, I'm the president of the Stonewall Stewards, the chairperson.
Name.
Steve is.
I know who you are, but if you could
It's late, Donna, for all of us.
Whatever. So, I'm the chairperson of Stonewall Stewards. Steve, we agreed to come with, when Luke is here. And Steve is the treasurer, so I am requesting now that instead of Steve speaking, that I'm requesting of the council that I can say a few words on behalf, not of Stonewall Stewards, but of Little Compton Community Center. I'm the chair of the building committee, and I just have a few words.
Solicitor, if this is not an agenda item, can we entertain that?
This item is stone walls.
Okay, then, can I, after you do this, can I ask to speak on behalf of the community center?
We don't have it as an agenda item tonight, so I'll defer to the solicitor again on that.
I did submit, a request to speak, and I was on the agenda and was taken off the agenda, so now I'm making a verbal request. So I guess you have to say, yes, Donna, you can talk, or no, you can't.
Okay, the technical answer is no, because it's not on the agenda that was posted. That's the first thing. I can tell you, I did speak with Ms. Pilkington before the meeting. I understand you're going to be meeting with her.
Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
And this relates to a matter, a contractual matter for a lease that has not yet been executed. So to the extent that you are not on the agenda, it is on the advice of counsel, because I want to see that lease finalized before we discuss anything.
Okay, but what I told you, counsel, when we were coming in outside, is I'm not talking about the lease.
I understand, but here we are talking about something that's not on the agenda. I don't want to have an open meetings violation, and it's not on the agenda.
Whose decision was it?
Mine.
That was your decision.
My decision, yes.
I'm sorry, Donna, but we can talk tomorrow morning and get it on a future agenda once we have our, I think, with the solicitor's advice with the leases.
To an email about what is the agenda. I know that there's a meeting, but I don't know. So
I don't have an agenda for the meeting. I was invited to the meeting and I will be at the meeting. I will be at the meeting.
Okay.
I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Board of License Commissioners, none. Communications 1, letter of request from the United Congregational Church for use of town landing for an in-person beach service on Sunday, August 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m.
motion to approve with all local and state ordinances adhered to.
Second, sounds like charter.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 2, request from the Nature Conservancy for an evening viewing of the Perseid meteor shower at Town Landing on August 12th, 2026. Rain,
Same motion.
August 11th,
Second.
2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 3, request from Little Compton Celebrates America 250 to honor and name Caroline Wilkie Wardell as Little Compton's town crier. I would like to make the motion to approve naming Carolyn Wilkie as the town crier and charge the clerk to draft a proclamation to that effect.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Request from Buzzards Bay Coalition for use of Veterans Field on Sunday, October 4th, 2026 for their 20th annual watershed ride.
Motion to approve with all local and state ordinances adhered to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, receive email of gratitude for beach manager Jim Farrell for his outstanding team and the entire beach commission for hosting the Little Compton Community Center at the beach on June 25th, 2026 for their S'mores at South Shore event.
The town council would like to thank Jim for all his services that he does on these extracurricular situations. You know how to write that in.
Motion to place on file.
No, there was a motion to thank Jim from the town.
Motion, a letter of thanks to be drafted from the council.
Right.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Number 6, request from Newport County Prevention Coalition to display their awareness banners / flags within the town between August 28th and September 3rd, 2026 to recognize International Opioid Overdose Awareness Day.
Motion to approve, but I'd like to know where these are going to be placed.
Second,
Please here.
discussion, we have
All right.
Polly here, and
All right, Polly, I will.
Polly, thank you for sticking this out.
Yeah, so that's fine with me.
Am I right in understanding this is an annual request that?
An annual event. I think this might be the 5th time.
Yep.
Holly Allen, South of Commons. And in previous years, we've done them right on Pikes Peak. Last year, we deferred to the 350th, had something going on. But Pikes Peak is the ideal location. It really brings awareness to the situation and reduces the stigma around opioid use disorder. And I would like to add that in 2022, in Rhode Island, we had 436 deaths due to opioid overdose. Through a lot of people's work, including the Prevention Coalition, we still lost a lot of people, but it's down to 219 last year. So, and I believe that's through a lot of work, reducing stigma and making things like this public.
Thank you.
The motion was to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Polly. Number 7, thank you letter from the Military Order of Foreign Wars of the United States, Rhode Island Commandery, for the generous donation from the town for their Purple Heart Monument at the Veterans Cemetery in Exeter.
Motion, Kyle.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.